Words, the final frontier. Some are big and hurt our brains. Others, well, others are inappropriate and will get your mouth washed out with a bar of soap, much like Ralphie from A Christmas Story. But sometimes, just sometimes, we find someone who is capable of taking words and putting them in an order on a piece of paper in a way that captivates your imagination and entices us to want to read more. One of these masters is Stephen King, the master of horror storytelling. With around 70 books and 200 short stories, nobody does it better. Hey, I'm SirFelixTheCat of Talk of Better Worlds, and this is The Blender. Today, I'm going to make a list of 5 Stephen King books you should not miss out on. Number 5, Blaze. Now, there are many tales of brilliant criminal masterminds.
No, not me. Although, I am very smart.
Who are just lucky and unflappable. And well, none of them are quite like Clayton Blaisdell Jr. And it's for those exact reasons that I just mentioned. Blaze is not intelligent, but sadly, he's not lucky, and he is very flappable. Now, when Blaze was a kid, he was thrown down the stairs multiple times by his father. And this was because he was interrupting his father watching TV. Unfortunately, all these times of being thrown down the stairs did cause some permanent brain damage to Blaze. And it wasn't until later in life that he started to really make some sort of progress. Now, he was kind of slow, but he met George, who was just a local small-time thief. But he was the man with the plan, and the two of them hit it off really well. Sadly, when our book starts, George has already passed away, and Blaze wants to really honor his friend's memory by pulling off the one last big crime George had talked about, which was to kidnap a baby and hold it for ransom. Now, as I mentioned before, Blaze is not lucky and not too intelligent, so it's not really going to go very well, but it's definitely a book to check out. I really couldn't recommend this one anymore. Number 4, Misery. Yeah, I couldn't find my copy of the book. It's somewhere over there. Now, Misery. Sometimes fans of celebrities can take things a little bit too far. Such as, what's his name? John Hinckley Jr., who attempted to assassinate President Reagan just to get Jodie Foster's attention. And as you can tell, that's a pretty dumb thing to do. But in the case of Misery, we have Annie Wilkes, who is obsessed with this Victorian-era romance novel series, which is authored by Paul Sheldon. And it just so happens that Paul Sheldon just wants nothing more to do with this series. He's well over it, wants to move on, wants to be known for something better. Or, I shouldn't say better, but bigger and more grand in his mind. And while on a book signing tour in Colorado, Paul Sheldon has an accident, and when he wakes up from his accident, he is in a strange room that he does not know, and there happens to be this lady in there who is pretending to be his nurse. And this lady happens to be Annie Wilkes. Soon, he will find out that Annie is crazy and wants him to write a final conclusion to the Misery romance series. And yeah, this leads to a lot of psychological and physical torture. A little bit of broken bones, or missing limbs. But how much can a human survive? Best way to find out, pick up this book. Number 3, 11/22/63. So, I think at this time, I need to just go ahead and deal with the fact that I'm probably going to be flagged by the NSA. Because for the second time in this list, I'm going to be talking about a president being assassinated. And this time, I'm going to talk about November 22nd, 1963. The day that President John F. Kennedy was assassinated. A very sad and shocking day for the country. A moment many wish could have been prevented. Now, what if you could go back and stop it? Would you do it? And what would you do to prevent it? With all the conspiracy theories surrounding this one, it's not like you just go out there and be like, hey, you're the guy who's rumored to have done it, so we're going to go ahead and kill you. That's just not right. You're going to need to do a little bit of digging, some investigation, detective work. And that's pretty much what happens here. So Al Templeton is the owner of a diner in Maine. And he just so happened to find a portal that lets him time travel in his diner's storage closet. And so he goes back in time and he finds that if he goes through the portal, it is currently September of 1958. And well, if he goes back to the present time, maybe minutes have passed. But when he goes back, he's back at the same exact time, which is September 9th, 1958. Always in the morning, same time. He's going to see the same people doing the same exact things they did last time he walked through it. So, seeing this great power to be able to time travel, he decides to do something great. What's the greatest thing he could do? He could save President John F. Kennedy. Maybe see the world turn into, or at least the country, turn into a better place. Who really knows? But he makes that his life goal. And he keeps going back and keeps getting further and keeps getting further and keeps getting further. But, age catches up to you. He's spending real time there, even though only minutes is passing on our side. So, once his body can no longer take it, he then hires... what's his name? Jake Epping. Sorry about that. He hires Jake Epping to take over, who then reads Al's notes, follows on the footsteps, finds out more information on these people, and gets involved in one of the most gripping stories you're ever going to read. Definitely check this one out. All right. Number 2, Hearts in Atlantis. So, this book is a little bit different than the ones I've mentioned so far. First, this is a series of stories. This is 3 novellas and 2 short stories. But they are all interconnected, making just really one coherent story. But let me also preface this by saying the Dark Tower universe is much larger than just the 8 books in the series. Several of Stephen King's works have their own connected universe, and Hearts in Atlantis happens to be one of them. And let me see how I'm going to go into this. This is just weird. This is hard to explain. And this book allows you to get just a little more insight on the connection between our world and the Dark Tower universe. So, the main character in this book is Bobby Garfield. He's a boy who grew up in 1960 in Connecticut, who became friends with a man named Ted Brodigan? Yeah, let's go with that. Ted Brodigan, who has psychic powers. And this friendship would forever change not just his lives, but the lives of Bobby's friends and basically everyone they're ever going to meet. One of those just extreme life-changing moments. Now, throughout their lives, they're going to have run-ins with inhabitants of the Dark Tower universe, as well as dealing with various horrors, both real, like assault and war and death, and also the horrors of, the Dark Tower universe. So, being a total of 5 stories, this may seem like it's a pretty long book. I mean, it looks like it's pretty thick, but really, it's captivating. It's going to be a quick read once you get into it. Definitely recommend checking this one out. And number 1, The Long Walk. Yes, it's another one that I couldn't find the copy of. It's, again, somewhere over there. And let me just say, finally, we get a dystopian future, which is like the next best thing right after post-apocalyptic futures. In the future dystopian United States, millions of Americans are tuning in to watch this reality game show contest thing, whatever you'd call Survivor. And this one is called The Long Walk. It's a contest of survival and endurance where 100 young men are going to be walking down the entirety of Route 1, starting at the Canada main border and going all the way down. And well, these contestants are not allowed to stop, they're not allowed to rest, and they must maintain at least a speed of 4 miles per hour. And should you not be able to maintain said speed, you're going to be, how should I put this? You're going to be given a ticket. By ticket, I mean like in the head by one of the security guards. And yeah, so it's a true game of survival. Now, only one person can win. And when they win, they're going to get a nice little cash sum as well as a prize of their choosing. And Ray Garrity is one of these contestants who set out on here to, win the prize. While walking, he gets to know several of his fellow walkers, and, they have to start dealing with the fact that, not all of them are going to survive. And he's going to have to watch a lot of his new friends die. This is going to bring on a lot of psychological horror. Like, he's going to have to deal with some tormenting. Plus, when you're able to sit there and think, a lot of people don't think of just happy things. So, his mental state is going to deteriorate. And with Las Vegas not having, showing the odds in his favor, it's not looking too well. But I bring this one up especially at the end because we have a new movie actually in the works right now, which I cannot wait for. And since that's not out yet, this is a great time to go out and pick up this book. So Stephen King is the author that really turned me into a book nerd. I first read one of his short stories. I believe it was The Graveyard. And this was back when I was in the 6th grade and we went to the school library. And from that moment on, I was absolutely hooked. And I feel that, as long as you can get past some language and you're okay reading about gruesome things, which a lot of them do happen in real life, you're going to find a story that you can quite enjoy. Besides these 5, you have the whole Dark Tower series. You have the Green Mile. You have Roadwork. You have ones about people traveling through the desert and getting pulled over by, crazy cops who end up having a connection to the Dark Tower universe. It's so cool. I very much love this author. But what really brings it out are the characters. Take Under the Dome. I don't know if you've read the book or you've seen the TV show. There's a lot of characters in there, and they're all very unique, and they feel alive. They're not just names on a piece of paper. They are true living characters, and that's what I find so fabulous about his works. But, let me know if you've checked out any of these books, if you have a favorite one of his books, or just how you feel about him as an author. Let me know down in the comments. And until next time, take care. Hey, thanks for watching.
Give us a like if you enjoyed it, and dislike it if you didn't.
Let us know what you think about the channel.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Tell your mom.